Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's Day Edition. What is it? Where does it come from? And why is it so unique? All that and more coming up. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of With or Without Whiskey, where I give you the history and reviews of some of your favorite whiskey brands. I'm Ryan, and today is St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone watching, and happy birthday, Nick. To celebrate today, I'm going to be drinking Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's Edition. Well, enough talk, let's get into it. The Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's Limited Edition was created to celebrate the ties between Irish and Kentucky whiskey making. Kentucky Owl's master blender, John Rhea, partnered with Louise McGuan, the founder of J.J. Corey Irish Whiskey and Ireland's first modern whiskey bonder since Prohibition. The goal here is to blend a bourbon with some of the qualities of Irish whiskey. Now, bonding is not the same as bonded or bottled in bond. Irish whiskey bonding is a form of blending that was big in the 19th and 20th centuries. Distilleries would produce whiskey for independent bonders to age, blend, and bottle themselves. It is basically sourcing and blending whiskey to make their own product. It was popular until 1930, when the Irish whiskey industry all but collapsed due to American Prohibition as well as other political factors. In 2015, Louise McGuan attempted to bring the tradition back by becoming the first modern Irish whiskey bonder. The individual whiskeys were blind tasted by Rhea and McGuan, then blended together in a few ways and blind tasted again. The end product is a whiskey composed of 4 to 11 year bourbons, high rye bourbons, and wheated bourbons. After the release of this whiskey, the barrels used will be sent to Ireland to be used in the production of Irish whiskey. The Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's Edition is 100 proof or 50% ABV. It is a blend of 4 to 11 year bourbon, high rye bourbon, and wheated bourbon. It is uncut, non-chill filtered with no color additives and costs about $130. All right, let's get into the review. So you can tell this is a St. Patrick's Day bottle because of how unbelievably green this label is. Like, that is just super deep green. All right, enough admiring the bottle. All right, so take a look at the color of the whiskey. So right off the bat, you can see it's pretty dark. So it's a blend of a bunch of different bourbons, at least 4 years old. So it's gonna have a decent amount of color to it, plus those 11-year-old bourbons are gonna bump up that color a little bit more. All right, let's get into the nose. All right, so right up front, it has a good rye punch to it. There's a good amount of cinnamon and there's a good amount of cloves right there. Then it kind of transitions into those typical bourbon notes. You get very sweet cherry, you get some honey, there's a little bit of vanilla, and there's like the tiniest bit of oak in the back. Behind the oak, there's a deep, dense sweetness, like molasses. And then there's some subtle fruity notes, like I'm getting peaches and like sugary apples, almost like apple pie filling. Let's give it one more. Yeah, definitely like very fruity on the end, peaches, apples, maybe a little bit of berries as well. Got a good amount of fruit flavor in that. All right, let's see how it tastes. Cheers, guys. Ooh, okay. Right up front, I'm getting a very strong creamy note, followed by that peach flavor that I was getting in the nose. It tastes like that peaches and cream dessert, like a whole bunch of sliced up peaches mixed with a bunch of whipped cream. After you get past the heavy peach flavor, there's a good amount of cherry, like very sweet cherry, and then it goes into a strong cinnamon note. So I think that's from the rye bourbon that's in there. There's a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of oak there, but it's mostly that dessert peaches and cinnamon kind of punch. The finish, there really isn't much going on there. It's pretty short. I get some oak, I get a little bit of honey, and it's a little dry at the end, but other than that, there's really not much going on. All right, let's see what happens when we add a little bit of water to it. But before we do that, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It shows support for the channel, and it helps YouTube recommend this video to others. All right, let's see what we got here. 1, 2. All right, on the nose, there's a good amount of cherry. There's a little bit of that cinnamon still punching through, and I'm getting vanilla and oak. There's still a little bit of molasses coming through, but all those fruit notes are really not there anymore. The water definitely tamed it down a little bit. It's not as rye forward. There's not as much fruit in there, but the bourbon characteristics are coming through a little bit stronger than before. All right, let's see how it tastes. All right, the water definitely changed this up a good amount. So the cherry note is definitely coming through a lot more. Like, it tastes like I'm drinking the cherry juice from a jar of those cocktail cherries. There's still a good amount of peach in the flavor, but I kind of get a little bit more brown sugar on this now. Like, it has a little bit extra sweetness. Let's try one more time. Yeah, like cherries and peaches right up front. There's a little bit of oak right on the end. And then the finish of this one is a little bit longer. Like, it's not as short as it was before, but I'm getting a lot of cinnamon on the finish. Like, it tastes like I just finished chewing a piece of big red gum. And it's very dry at the end too. Again, there isn't really much to the finish. It's got a couple of good flavors, but it's nothing too complex. All right, stick around for the grade. All right, Kentucky Owl, St. Patrick's Edition. For this whiskey, I think I'm gonna give it a grade of 90 out of 100. This was a very good whiskey. I really enjoyed the flavors on this. The nose was very sweet, cherry, honey, vanilla, oak, apple pie filling, and peaches. Then on the taste, that peaches and cream dessert flavor, along with the sweet cherry, vanilla, oak, all those regular bourbon flavors, combined with the heavy cinnamon, really kind of balanced it out. It was really sweet, but then it kind of transitioned into rye spiciness. The finish definitely could have been better. There really wasn't much there. It was oak and honey. When I added the water, the nose kind of gentled out a little bit. I wouldn't say it killed it, but it definitely took away a lot of those fruity notes in there. The taste was a little bit different though. Sweet cherry juice, peaches, brown sugar, a little bit of oak, and again, that heavy cinnamon flavor there. So for Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's Edition, I think I'm gonna go with it. Like I said, this was a very good whiskey, and I could definitely see myself drinking this all the time. The only problem is the price. Again, this was like $130. I think I paid $135 for it. Now that's not horrible. I think it's one of the cheaper Kentucky Owl products, but that's still a lot of money to pay. Now, if you're willing to invest, this is definitely a good one to buy. If you're kind of on a budget, I'd say either find it at a bar or try and find a friend who has a bottle and mooch it off of him. But it's definitely worth a try if you get a chance. I highly recommend this to anybody who can afford it. Well, that does it for today's episode of With or Without Whiskey. If you enjoyed the episode and you had a good time, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you guys have any requests for a whiskey review you want to see me do, leave it in the comments below. Remember, guys, no matter how busy you get, there's always time for a drink with friends. Stay safe and happy St. Patrick's Day.